Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Beamer, owner-operator of Explicitly Dyed Art by Science, and this is Fiber Talk episode number 7, and today we are going to be talking about Cormo. Now this is a fun fiber, and the word Cormo is almost quite literally associated with baby items. So it's definitely a soft wool, and it has a lot more spring and body than typical fine wools like merino or polwarth. So if you want something that has a little bit of spring in its step, definitely the fiber that you want is Cormo. Now, one of my very first whole fleeces that I purchased was a Cormo mix. I think it was Rambouillet. It was mostly Cormo though. I think it was 3/4. And I had probably way more fleece than I knew what to do with, so I did all kinds of things. I just carded it up, and some I dyed, and some I carded and dyed, and then sometimes I dyed it and then carded it, and then I spun it, and then I decided maybe I'll felt it and see how that goes. So I mean, they produce really quite large fleeces, and the range is somewhere like 5 to 12 pounds per fleece, and they're often coated. Well, my first fleece wasn't coated, but Cormo is a very dense fleece, so it's very similar like other fine wools. They have per square centimeter, I think, on the animal, they have a dense amount of follicles. So basically it kind of naturally keeps foreign matter away from the locks so they don't get really tangled up in there. And that's really the case with this Cormo. Occasionally I run into something where it's just really horribly mangled in that little piece of lock, but the vast majority of it isn't. And I will show you here. This is one lock that I have pulled out here. So you can kind of see a little bit of the lock structure there, and it really holds the lock structure nicely. This was after it was washed and dried, and then later I took some and then I dyed it. And then I carted it all the way to South Korea, so even though it's been through quite a lot, you can still see how it holds its formation extremely well. Now this is a particularly clean lock, but occasionally you'll see like big pieces of vegetable matter. And when you brush this, which is what I did for the vast majority of the locks that I ended up using, the vegetable matter just really comes out. So, you know, if a little bit of vegetable matter gets into your Cormo, don't be super afraid because it's fairly easy to come out. When you have really fine wools like merino or polwarth, it may not be quite as easy to get these bits of vegetable matter out because it doesn't have as much body. It's more silky, like merino is more silky, and Cormo is more like it has more body, it has more resiliency, it's more like individual rather than silky. I hope that makes sense. And they comb or brush really easily. Cormo is a really great versatile fiber when it comes to preparation. So this is flicked locks. There we go, sorry about that. I was having problems getting the camera to focus. So basically what you would do is you would take the lock here, and I usually offered a half twist, pinched it, and then I would sort of brush out one end, and then I'd flip it around, offer up that half twist, brush it out again. And you want to do small quantities at a time, because even though the staple length of Cormo is around 2.5 inches. Even though it's really versatile, it can be prepared in a lot of different ways. It's a fine wool, so you have to be careful. It has a lot of bounce, which means all of that body can easily get tangled, or you know, you can pull too much and it will cause the fiber to actually snap, and then you'll have all these naps when you're spinning your wool, and that would never be good, right? You don't want to weaken your wool. So do small locks like this if you're going to flick it open, and that's actually what I did here. I have a whole bag of locks which I have combed open like this, and you can already tell that it's It really likes sticking to itself. Which makes it a really great fiber for doing the long draw method. It's a really great fiber if you want something that's really springy and bouncy but also has the next to skin type quality. It's very similar in micron diameter as merino. I think it's like, 19 to 20? I'm sorry, 17 to 23. Or more often you'll probably find like 18 or 19 to about 23 microns for most Cormo. Really soft Cormo though is really heaven. I've only touched it one time in its raw form. So here I have two samples of Cormo. This is what I spun with my new supported spindle. I was testing a few things about twist because I was reading in the twist issue of Ply magazine, the article by Amy King, where she talks about where do you put the twist. You can put it in the singles and then the ply, or you can, do it balanced or imbalanced. So if you wanted to maybe keep a light, fluffy two-ply, but it still kept the durability of a balanced two-ply, what you could do is you could add just enough twist to the single to make it stay together as a yarn, but not enough twist to make it look like a really strong, durable two-ply yarn. So basically what you would do is in the plying, you would add more twist so that you had sort of a more durable looking single, but it was actually a two-ply. And that's what I did with this Cormo. And because I was using the supported spindle, I could really focus on twist and how much I was putting in, and I could also pay attention to things like the grist, the actual diameter of my drafting triangle. So, what goes into making the gauge of a specific yarn, whether it's sport weight or lace weight, is how many fibers go into that combination and how much twist you're imparting. So if you have a lot of twist, it can compress the diameter down. If you don't have a lot of twist, it'll make it a fluffier version. If you have a lot of fiber going into it, it's going to increase its diameter, and you can sort of play with these two concepts and sort of micromanage your yarn a little bit. So what I did is I really paid attention to how much fiber was going into this yarn and combined that with the amount of twist so that I could really play up the incredible squishy springiness of Cormo wool. So, and I have my two samples here. This is the washed version, and you can see, if I hold it up here, and I give it a pull down, like it actually just goes out of frame. It's an extremely bouncy wool. Makes great hats and mittens and pretty much anything you would need for a soft next to skin item. Now this is the unwashed skein, so I sort of wanted to compare these for you. And they were made on the same Nitty Noddy, a 2-yard Nitty Noddy, and this is the amount of bounce that you're going to get once it has been washed and set. And you can see here how this particular skein is wanting to twist a little bit. That's because there's a little bit more ply twist than what would make it a balanced 2-ply, but when it's been set, it'll hang sort of like this other one up here, this washed one. It'll hang normal. So that's the difference here, right? But you can see how much this washed set skein will bounce up after you've set Cormo yarn. So what is it really good for? Pretty much anything that you would use merino or blue face Leicester or Polwarth or Rambouillet, any of those really fine wools, anything you would use those fibers for, you can use Cormo for. But it also has body, so it doesn't have as much sheen per se as merino might. so it doesn't have like that silky shine to it, but it will take dye really well. So you can use it for any kind of like colored garments, anything that you want to have good stitch definition, because it's not really a crispy wool, but it will really hold the look of the stitch very well. Sometimes when you work with merino, it doesn't hold it as well, especially if you're using something that's soft spun or like a single. The Cormo will help sort of keep that stitch definition for longer, so there's a little bit less pilling. People like I was mentioning earlier, people really like using it for hats. That's really great for socks and mittens, you know, any of those like soft squishy things. They also make really great sweaters. I'm hoping, because I've had some success with making a raglan sweater, that I'll actually be able to use this yarn for making some other kind of sweater in the near future. Because I paid so close attention to the diameter and the twist, these two skeins are practically identical. So with 440 or so yards, I should be able to make some kind of like cropped cardigan with it, hopefully. Maybe when I'm actually done and the pattern is published, I'll use this for that. Anyway, so I'll show you a couple pictures real quick. Unfortunately, there aren't any pictures of the sheep in this particular entry for it. Here you can see the clean and the raw version. There's really a ton of crimp. There we go. You can see that there's really a ton of crimp in Cormo. So, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have suggestions for future videos, please let me know in the comments below, or Facebook or Ravelry or wherever, and I will add that to the queue. I just, maybe a week ago, got a whole bunch of fleece samples in the mail from Japan. Shout out! And those are going to be probably used in upcoming videos. We'll have to see how they turn out. And yeah, so if you want to know what I got in the mail, head over to Ravelry and check it out. Anyway, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate it so much, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!